My name is Jackie Palfi, and this is the Cycle of Success podcast. I am certain that you can make life more than just a living. You can achieve more by doing less. My mission is to help you create abundance in all areas of life without you burning out. So what are you waiting for? All we have is right now. Joseph Campbell once wrote, "The cage you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." Welcome back to the Cycle of Success podcast. I'm so honored to come to you one-to-one again. We have had so many guests speaking on here the last couple of weeks, and now I'm back with a solo episode just for you where I'm answering one of the most frequent questions that I get, and that is, how do I overcome my fear? I really want to create this dream for myself, but fear is holding me back. Self-sabotage is holding me back, and I just can't seem to take this step. So if this sounds like you, if this is something you've ever experienced in your life and you feel like it's been holding you back from creating the life that you would be absolutely in love with, then this episode is definitely for you. And we, in a very short episode, will dive into some very powerful tools. We will recognize that both, like every one of us, have two sides to us. We will honor both sides and choose which side we will start to nourish so that it can grow bigger. And I will give you an easy 4-step process in how you can start to starve your fear and feed your faith instead. Because fear and faith both requires us to believe in something that has yet not happened. All we have is right now. The past is already gone. The future is not yet here. So what we choose in this very moment is essential for how your future is going to look like. So let's dive right into it. Let's dive into how you can learn to choose the side of you that wants your dream, who wants to feel more alive, who wants to really create a life where when you look back at your life the last day you have, you think to yourself, wow, I love and loved my life. I did the best out of it. So let's start this off with a great story to really show that every one of us have these two sides to us, what these two sides are, and this story is going to be very relatable to you because I am sure you have experienced something similar in your life before as well. So the story is a teaching story that Mary Morrissey, my mentor, has taught us when she taught us about fear. It's about her little granddaughter being on visit and them going to a place with a lot of Ferris wheels. And entering this, park, the little girl, she looks at Mary, looks around, and then she spots this one Ferris wheel that she really would love to go on. She points there and she says, Grandma, that's the one I want to try. And Mary, looking at her little granddaughter and looking at that Ferris wheel, she goes like, ooh, that looks scary. That looks very scary. But this girl is so excited. She's pumped up. She's full with energy, and she can't get her eyes off it. And Mary, secretly is thinking, well, I hope she's too small for this, but well, let's try it out. So they walk to this one Ferris wheel, and it's one of those that just where you're sitting and just shoots you out, and then there's this free fall. So they get there, and the little granddaughter, she gets measured, and she is big enough. So they stand in line, and Mary notices that her body language and everything kind of starts to shift. And suddenly she turns around and looks at Mary and says, Grandma, I'm feeling a little bit weird in my tummy. I feel this fear, and yeah, I'm not sure that I want to do this anyway. And Mary answers, well, you don't have to. We can leave. There's an exit here and we can leave it right now. And then she looks back at her and says, but Grandma, how do you do it? How do you choose the side of you that wants what it wants over the side of you that is scared? And that's exactly it. That's exactly it. It happens to a little child, and it happens in us creating our dream life. Because we have to recognize that we all always have these two sides. Fear is actually good news. This is what I'm teaching my clients always. If we can start to change the perspective or perception around what fear really is and start celebrating and saying, this is good news. Because fear just shows up when you have hit the border of your comfort zone and you're ready to enter the cage where the treasure lies. Otherwise, you would not feel this fear. It's because you are growing, you are becoming a bigger version of yourself. You're stepping into a new level of experience, of awareness. So fear is really just the border of the reality that you have known up until today. And that is why when we are living a life where we are going after what we are longing for, what we would love to create, we will live a life where we are experiencing fear. The most successful people in the world, they're not successful in the absence of fear. They are successful because they have learned that they can have fear without fear having them. And that's what I want to teach you. I want to teach you how you can use the energy to guide you instead, to, shift your energy, use that energy and shift it so that you start feeding the faith of why you really want this. So again, just to recap, we want to recognize that when we are growing, when we are creating our dream life, we will always have these two sides of us. One which is scared, which wants to stay where it's comfortable, what is known. And one where, that's your authentic self. That's what you want to step into. And what we want to notice here is that there is a gap. There's a gap between where you are right now and where you would love to be. And this is where most people get stuck. They are scared of the unknown. But for you to create new results, for you to live a life where you feel expanded and alive, you have to be willing to move through that gap, even though there will be fear and insecurities. And that willingness is what will bring you to where you want to be. Insecurities are normal because you would already be where you want to be if you wouldn't have those insecurities, because you would already have gained the awareness. The reason why you have these insecurities is because you don't have the awareness yet. And that's the beautiful part of personal development. It's all about gaining more awareness. It's the process, it's the journey you become, the journey and the person you become in the process. It's not really about what you get or what you in your material world get for yourself. So let me ask you one thing. Imagine, bring your longing, your big dream to your mind right now. And then imagine that time is fast forward and it's the last day. You're 99 years old and it's your last day. It's the last day where you can put your head on the pillow. And you think back of your life. Ask yourself, would it be okay if you did not have this longing that you have, that you did not take the action steps because of fear? Would that be okay on your last day? Or would you regret it? Often the answer here is that you would regret it and you would wish that you would have stepped into the willingness of going through the gap in presence of fear and insecurities. So if that's the answer for you, this is really the time for you to make a commitment and say, I am going to cheer for my fear and say, this is good news. It's because I am becoming a better version of myself. There's a beautiful teaching story about how you can start to feed your starve your fear and feed your faith. It's very, very many years ago, and it's about a Native American who has to go on his vision quest. He has to leave the camp and all the people he knows and go out and do some tasks. And he's scared because there are tigers and bears and all kind of scary animals and obstacles out there. And being on his own, he really fears it. And then he goes to the chief and he says, I really, really want to do this vision quest, but it's like two dogs in me are fighting. One dog is saying that I can, and the other dog is telling me that I can't. And I really don't know which dog to listen to. And I don't know which one is right. The chief then looks at him and says, the one who says that you can is going to win, is going to be right. And the Native American then asks, how do you know that? And the chief then answers, because that's the one you are going to feed. And that's it. We have to choose which one of those sides that we have recognized that we are going to feed. And how do we do that? We do that with our attention. Where attention goes, energy flows. What we focus on grows. We know this. You and I know this law from farming. You know that if you plant an apple seed, you will get, and nourish it, you will get an apple. You know if you plant a corn seed and you nourish it, you will get corn. You know that if you plant a pear seed, nourish it, you will get a pear. And that's exactly the same. If we plant fear seeds, we will get more fear, we will get constriction, we will feel constricted, we will not live a life in aliveness. And the same thing, if we plant a faith seed and nourish that, that's what we're gonna get more of. So how do we do this? How do we turn our attention to the faith? I have a 4-step process, just as I told you in the beginning, for this, so that you can start putting your attention more and more on what it is that you wish to happen instead of what you're scared of will happen. So the first part is to put your focus back on your vision. Of course, for you to be able to do this, you have to have created a vision for yourself. You have to have created a very detailed vision of what it is that you want to create in your life, what it is that you want, how it feels to be there. I have created some other podcasts and resources for you to do this. I will put it in the show notes if you have not done it yet, but I really invite you to do it because that is the energetic blueprint of where it is we want to go. If we don't have this clear direction, we are like a boat without a rudder. We just float a little around, hoping that we might go into, might find a place where the ship can enter, but we are not really having a clear direction. So first step is to put your focus back on your vision. Read it every morning, every evening. And put yourself into being there already. As my mentor Morris says, you can't get to your dream. You must come from it. The mind that have created the life you have right now will not be able to create the life that you want to live. You have to create a new mind, a new way of thinking, new way of feeling, a new way of acting. The second step is to step into the feeling tone of that vision. Act it out. Do one thing this week to step into your vision. Test drive the car, or write the speech, or create the business card, wear the suit. A very, very powerful technique that I just learned about a couple of weeks ago that I've also started to share with my clients, and they are getting amazing results with this. So I want to share it with you as well, is to take your phone and put an alarm for once an hour. Don't let it be an alarm that says, "Blah, blah, blah." Let it be a very nice ringtone, which calms you and makes you feel good. But once an hour, you will set this alarm. And then 2 minutes, and if you don't have 2 minutes, just 1 minute. Step into the feeling tone of your vision. How does it feel like? How does it sound like? How does it look like? Be there in your mind. Be in your vision. And the more you practice this, the more normal it becomes for you to live in that state, and your mind starts to create new neural pathways, which makes you think, feel, and act according to the person you vision. I just want to repeat this again. The mind who created the life you're living right now is not going to create the mind that you want to the life that you want to live. You have to put it on, put your vision on you. Just like a manuscript, when a actor has to become this person, she or he has a manuscript that she or he reads again and again and again. That's the same thing you have to do with your vision. So once again, by now we have talked about the 2 steps of how you can feed your faith and starve your fear. And the first one was to put your focus back on your vision when the fear comes up. The second one is to step into the feeling tone. Really, this week, do something that is in alignment with your vision. The third one is to visualize your arrival, celebrate your successes. I have a client who wanted to be an author and wanted to write this book for a long time. She sat down and actually started to create the book cover with the image of herself on the back, and really seeing herself having it, 5 sensorizing the vision. And really have some fun with it, because that also elevates your vibration. And the higher of a vibration we are on, the more the higher vibration our ideas are on as well. If we are in a low vibration, the ideas are not going to flow to us in how we're going to create our life with as much flow as if you're in a high vibration. And the fourth step is to keep noticing what you're noticing. This is so important, because try this out with me. You have the ability to notice. If you close your eyes, you can notice your feet. You can notice your legs. You can notice your back. You can notice the rings on your finger. You can notice the clothes on your body. You have the ability to notice this. And you have the exact same ability to notice your thoughts. Maybe at some point these thoughts has turned into a emotion already, but you have the power to notice if you feel constricted right now or expanded. And if you feel constricted, if you feel low of energy, tired, sad, it's because prior to that you have had some thoughts which have led you into that emotions. And we have the freedom of choosing our thoughts. You are not your thoughts, and you don't. Your thoughts do not have the control over you. You can choose which thoughts you engage in and which thoughts you want to think. So that is really, again, the practice here. Notice what you're noticing, so you can choose to start choosing thoughts which are in alignment with your vision. Alrighty, those were my insights and answer to this frequently asked question that I get from all my clients and all people in my community that I have contact with, who are now at a place where they have created their vision and they really, really want to move there and really create this life for themselves. But they're holding themselves back because of fear. So I just really want to end this off again with a sentence that changed everything for me as I started to study this and really started to choose faith over fear. And that is really that we have this moment only. The past is already gone. We can't change that. And the future is not yet here. Your future is really, it depends on what you choose in the now. So fear and faith both requires you to believe in something that has yet not happened. It's up to you where you put your attention, which picture you hold on the screen of your mind the most of the time. So this is really your life, and it's supposed to be a great one, a one where you're thriving, not a one where you're just feeling comfortable and trying to stay status quo, because that is a constricted way of living. You are unique. You have a gift that the world just needs and waits for you to share. So go take that action step. Go live your dream. That is what you're meant to do. That is what you are here for. If you loved this episode, please leave a review, please leave a comment, and also on my Instagram handle @JackiePalfi, there's a post to this, and I just love to engage with my community and really hear about what your insights were, what your aha moments were, and how you could take the information from here and implement it in your life. I wish you a beautiful week. I wish you a beautiful weekend, beautiful Easter weekend. I hope you enjoy it with your family, the people you love the most. And I see you again next week.